Hello everyone, RoseGoldSerpent here and welcome to a world tour of the Nest to celebrate hitting 100 subscribers. This is a duplicate of the world so I can continue to play and get achievements in the future. This video will be a little longer because I'm just going to do a whole unedited world tour and you guys can see what we've done so far, and I'm also going to answer some questions that were asked on Twitter. I also wanted to use this to say that once the Nest hits 50 episodes, I'm going to retire this series and create something different. This is because I want to move away from my Switch and more towards PC games for a couple of reasons. One of those reasons is so I can add some variety to the channel, and the other one is when I record Bedrock on the Switch, I have to use the Elgato, and recently I've been having a lot of problems with it. And because of how things have been this year, I can't afford to buy another Elgato, so it is likely I will be moving on from the Switch unless there are new games in particular that I really want to play. Maybe if they did another Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, or maybe even Pokemon Rangers. I don't know how they'd do that on the Switch, but it is a touchscreen, so I don't see why they couldn't. Pokemon, do another Pokemon Rangers game. I loved it. Now, onto the world tour while I answer some questions. So at Gary_cast D7 has asked Java or Bedrock and why. Honestly, Java. Up until last year, I only played Bedrock because I didn't have a PC. I had an Xbox and a Switch and that was it. But since getting a PC and playing Java, I can't imagine going back to just Bedrock, because with the ability to mod, it just feels like there's so much more you can do. This is my house, by the way. Can you remember what it was like when we first got here? I just had like a shed. Now I've got this incomplete monstrosity. Ogaren Kit has asked, what got you into doing YouTube? Well, my foxy friend, I didn't actually start really watching anything on YouTube until I was in college, when I discovered Markiplier, playing Five Nights at Freddy's. Yes, I am part of the FNAF influx of people. And I went through a really rough time after college. I couldn't get a job, I was unemployed, I was living with my parents, but I couldn't go anywhere, I was trapped at home. And he really helped me through a rough time, and I'd like to be able to pay that back somehow. Here's a look at the horses. We've got Glitch, Goku, and the nameless donkey. I keep forgetting to give him a name. I'm just going to get rid of that. It's not going to make any difference in my proper world, but I'm getting rid of it anyway. But yeah, I like entertaining people. I'm big into theatre, big into acting, performing, and especially this year over COVID, it's a good way to stay busy. But I mostly started because I was inspired by Markiplier, and here we are. At Throwlash has asked two questions as we jump into the nether. Firstly, he's asked tea or coffee. So the answer is tea. I don't like coffee. I don't really like the smell, let alone the flavour. It's just a bit bitter, and no amount of cream and sugar will ever convince me that it's not. His second question is why Minecraft? So Minecraft was the first console game I really felt I was actually good at. My brothers played a lot of things like Call of Duty or GTA, and I was really bad at them, to the point where my brothers would get me to play against them to make themselves look good, because I was that bad. I just never had the gift for first-person shooters. I'm okay on PC, but I'm not great. But Minecraft I was kind of good at. I wasn't the best in the world, but I didn't watch YouTube at the time, so I didn't have anyone to make me feel like I was bad at it. And it gave me a lot of opportunity to be creative, and it was a place I could go and play and not be overwhelmed by everything else going on. And it was the first game I played on my original YouTube channel, which I started when I was like 17. I wish I'd kept that up, but I'm also really happy with the community that I found here, particularly with Mindful and all the guys from there. So I don't regret starting a new channel. I think it was the best thing I could do. But yeah, it just has a special place in my heart as a place that I could get away, and a place where I actually felt like I was good at something. At Arilama1 has asked, if villagers could talk, what would they say? So I don't think they'd talk to us. I think they view us as stupid gods who run around leaping off of impossibly tall cliffs and killing ourselves being dumb. Just the weird immortal that turns up like, hey, want some emeralds? Cool. And then when we leave, they start talking to each other like, did that weird immortal just buy 100 uncooked fish? for several priceless emeralds. What an idiot. But then I also think they'd be kind of thankful, you know, hero of the village and all that. But we do kind of start that. So maybe they'd just hate us. They can talk. They're just hiding. They know what we've done. They know what we've done. I'll get back to some more questions in a moment to spend a few moments actually talking about the nest like I'd originally planned, but got waylaid by the fact that people had actually asked me questions. So I had originally planned to spend a lot of time through this portal. When I initially found it, I was very excited for lots of different reasons. I also had intended to build a little bit of a second hub in this part of the Nether, but that just never ended up happening. It's one of those things where I got waylaid. But when I found this area, I was very excited for several reasons. This is also the place where I found the zombie spawner. And I tried to pick it up with Silk Touch, and Silk Touch doesn't work on spawners. It just doesn't do the thing. I swear it used to. I swear it used to work on spawners, but not anymore. And that was my mistake. I don't check the updates and things like that. I just play. I play for playing's sake. But yeah, I had a lot of plans for this area, and they never sort of came to fruition. But I will say I'm really, 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 really happy that we found a bamboo biome, because honestly having scaffolding is the best. It's so helpful for building. It's so good, and it did me such a huge favour for the tower build. So this is the little treetop zone that we made while we were here. My original plan had been to connect all the trees with lots of wooden bridges, which is what I attempted to do. I'm just checking and seeing what I've got here, because I'm here, so why don't I? But yeah, I wanted to connect all the trees and have this on top of the world, go down when I feel like it kind of area. But it just never ended up happening. Maybe I'll come back and do it in the future. I don't know. Even when I retire the nest at 50 episodes, I'm going to keep playing in my free time. And I'll update it from time to time so you guys can see the progress that I've made. But it's because of the issues I'm having with the Elgato, I'm struggling to record episodes because it keeps cutting out. So hopefully it'll last for the 50 episodes. If not, I may have to retire it early. That's still 20 more episodes. How mad is that? That's so cool. But anyway, I'm going to answer another question while we pop a look around here, because we've still got to get back to home base and have a look around home base a bit more. So it seems as though Throwlash actually asked 3 questions, not 2. He's asked, if there were only fleeting moments left on Earth, what song would you listen to pass the time? Gee whiz, Batman, that got a bit deep a bit quick. I don't know. Music's not the sort of biggest thing in the world for me. I listen to it so I can daydream. I listen to it actually specifically so I can maladaptively daydream. And no, I'm not just saying that. That's something that I deal with. I deal with maladaptive daydreaming. But I don't know. My song choices change depending on what daydream I'm in the midst of living through. So I really couldn't tell you. I've no idea. That's a big question. What would I listen to if there were only fleeting moments left on Earth? I don't think I'd be thinking about music. I'd be like, Mum, where are you? But yeah, I really don't know. That's a big question that I do not have the answer to, I'm afraid. But thank you for asking it. At Games Cripple, also known as Mentally Cripple Games, has asked what the hardest struggle you've had as a content creator is. For me personally, it's been editing. I don't have any video editing experience beyond Movie Maker in primary school, and I really didn't know where to start. I had a look on just the sort of Google shop and things like that, and the Microsoft shop, and I found Animotica, and I bought like a license for that because it was really cheap, and I was using that for ages, and it was okay, but I didn't really start getting anywhere with editing until I got DaVinci Resolve, which someone tweeted about. I have no idea who. It wasn't someone I followed. It was something that sort of popped up. And getting DaVinci Resolve has been the best thing, I think, for me. It's a brilliant software. It's free. I can't believe this software is free with everything that comes with it. It is really great. and I highly recommend it. But it's been a struggle. Luckily, I really like learning and I like gaining new skills, which is great. But yeah, there's definitely been some frustrations. There's definitely been closing the computer down and leaving it so I can go scream into a pillow, because I just don't know how video editing works. And I see people talk about different things online and I'm like, oh, I feel so stupid because I don't know what any of those words means, but I also make content and shouldn't I know those things? But it's alright, you don't have to know everything right away. I'm still a small channel and I'm still learning, and hopefully with more time I'll continue to learn and I'll continue to get better. I know there's definitely more things I want to do with editing, but these things take time. But yeah, for definite, it's been editing has been the biggest struggle for me. But I'm glad and happy and proud of where my videos are at now compared to where I first started. So I think, you know, I've come a long way, got a lot to learn, but I'm much happier now with the quality of my videos than I was when I started. The final question now is from @sunfire_SG, who has asked, what do you consider your biggest / proudest life accomplishment so far? So this needs a little bit of backstory so you understand. But when I was 16, I started training to be a professional wrestler. I had to stop recently this year because I got diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder, and the doctors have advised me to stop until God knows when, until at least it can be sort of sorted. But when I was about 20 or 21, I can't remember, I got the opportunity to wrestle Lisa Marie Varon, aka former WWF Women's Champion Victoria. I cannot begin to express to you how excited I was to get an opportunity to wrestle someone who had been in the WWF, which was my life's goal, to be in that company. She was genuinely one of the nicest people I have ever met in my entire life. And I mean, even up until now, I've not met someone as nice and wonderful as her. The show I was wrestling with her on was the last show of their tour, so they were tired and fed up, and she was so nice to everyone there. She took pictures with people, she shook everyone's hand. She didn't expect people to come up to her and be like, oh, let me just, you're Victoria and I'm not, and she was just like, oh look, a person whose hand I haven't shook yet, which is a thing in wrestling, and just immediately shook their hand. She didn't care if they were on the show, she didn't care if they were helping backstage, she was just there to help. Also, watch my villagers have a meltdown as I talk to you guys. I don't know what was happening, but there was some sort of glitch going on during this moment. Anyway, she was so nice. She even took the time to speak to my parents, who had no idea who she was, but were trying to be supportive. And I was by no means an amazing wrestler. I was maybe average at best. I did a lot of character work, and that's what sort of got me anywhere, really, was my character work, and even that wasn't the best. But she made me feel like I was an amazing wrestler. We didn't do anything amazingly complicated, but we didn't have to. They didn't care about me, they were there to see her, but she made me feel like a really important part of the match. I'll include a link to the match in the description for my old wrestling channel in case anyone is curious or doesn't believe me, etc. So you guys can have a look. But yeah, that was definitely one of the proudest moments of my life, was getting that opportunity, because Nick Aldis ran the promotion. It was his promotion, and he would come down every year. And the previous 2 years, I'd been part of the show, but not as a wrestler. So one year it was, I was a runner backstage. I think Mickie James was wrestling, because that's his wife. And I was running backstage to and fro. So all that means is if there was a match on, I had to wait for it to ring and then run backstage and be like, knock, 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 whoever's on next, you need to get ready. The last match has just ended, and I did that. And then the following year, I refereed for a match with Mickie James and Soraya Knight. I'd never refereed before. Never done it, but I was like, yeah, I'm helpful, I'm useful, I'll be part of the show, whatever you say, Nick, yeah. And then the year after, I got to actually wrestle on the show, and I got to wrestle Lisa Marie Varon. And it was amazing to be given that opportunity. And I really can't thank Nick or Lisa enough. They will never see these videos. I would just like to clarify. But yeah, so that's probably the proudest moment. I would also like to say that provided I can get the go-ahead from a doctor, I will be going back to wrestling. It's just getting that go-ahead because my joints hate me. And now we're going to wrap this up looking at the world. I am so proud of this world and this series and where it's been and where it's come from. I know it's not much, but it's mine and I love it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who asked questions. If anyone else has any questions, I spend a lot of my time on Twitter. The link will be in description. I have been RoseGoldSerpent. Like, subscribe and leave a comment to let me know what you think, and I will catch you later. Bye!